this last video came out as euro to the dollar because think I clicked on euro to the dollar at the end and I forgot to switch back because I'm tired. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. But it does look pretty decent. Let's just kind of throw some stuff out there because I actually wasn't sure if I want to make a video on this, but I actually do like the way it looks. To me, it looks incredibly bearish. We'll see what happens. But I do like the fact that it looks pretty straightforward, at least on the 12 hours. So I'm interested to see. Yeah, so I think this definitely will be done and will be updated. So just to kind of get like a longer view on this, just to kind of get it out of here, we can just see this line right here. We can see kind of what happened. We turned over under it. But the point is, I mean, for the last, gosh, who knows how long, I mean, it's actually insane when you look at the euro to the dollar that it's still in this trend. So another interesting thing to note is, I mean, the idea that's falling down here is just pretty similar to this. A lot of volatility, a lot of volatility. Fairly choppy, I'll say, for what it's worth, though. There's a lot of, it's like a lot of, it's pretty volatile with the choppiness, I guess, in a sense. Like, right? Fairly down, fairly up, fairly down, fairly up, up. Like, everything is pretty wild. A lot of these candles are pretty big. Only some of them and a couple of these areas are fairly small, like here, maybe around here also as well. But besides that, most of them are, if they are small, they're just like a go. They're like a give and go. So there's only so many places anyway. So just to kind of sum that up real quick so we can get back into this, and that's where this comes from, just to kind of have a little bit of context. So I do believe still that it's going to head down to 90. That still seems to be the most likely. Historical data shows that these are pretty easy to hit places as well. Um, so let's just kind of look at some of these averages. I just want to go through this. This is, as more than anything, it's just an apology. So, right, we're wedging through here, fall under, fall under, fall under. We try to come back up. We can see some of this on the day time frame also as well. So when we look back here in 2021, fall under, boom. Oh, I guess I must have said the same thing in a stream before, right? We do the standard fallout, find support, boom, boom, boom. And the interesting thing about this, or thing to note, is ever since this, we like note had it has not escaped both lines or ended out of it. It has not ended out a single time. It is not ended or started out of any of these lines. So for the day time frame, yes, this looks bad. From the day time frame, this actually looks horrible because not only did it start under, but it actually came up and then pushed down. So this looks pretty bad in the day. On the 12 hour, this actually looks pretty bad as well. If we can reverse, we can reverse. We'll have these two areas here. It looks like it's about, we just see on the top left, ignoring what the lines say, it is 0.98033, and then we have 0.98177. So if we can start above this, I would imagine that we push up. I have a feeling that we won't push up nearly as much. This looks really bad. I mean, generally a lot of times, most if something's here, it's going to push up to here and then push back down. This looks really ugly for what it is. And switching over here kind of protects it in the sense we can get some buying. I think there's going to be a lot of selling here. We can even just see from a horizontal perspective. Let's just look over here on this left side, right? We can do that there. We can do this here. So at most, it doesn't really have too much of a chance to come out. This looks like it's going to be really tough. So let's see what we have on the shorter terms. So yeah, we have it's finding a little bit of support on the fours. The issue is that we have a 12 above us. So if we can push up on this, we can push up on this. I don't think it looks that amazing. It's trying to do something down here, but I mean, it tried to do something over here also as well and got cracked back down a little bit more. So I'm not going to care too much about the stock. So yeah, the 4, the 2, we have a little bit of a gap also as well. So this could be, if we do fail somewhere up here and turn over, this could be a little extra bouncing here that'll probably keep trending down. Now, a lot of this is dependent on the dollar. So we can take a look at the dollar and see some stuff in the dollar as well. Looks like we also do have a 1 hour. Looks like the 1 and the 4 was a lot of the impetus for this pushing up. But we do have these 12-hour averages here. It's going to be really tough. We're going to see the next one at what, 5? So 5 in the morning, it's what, 11:06. So it's about 6 hours from now, we're going to see another one. So maybe if we start back up here, we can push up a little bit. Just in general, it looks pretty bad. Even if it just does start up here, doesn't mean it's going to push up, but I would be looking for something like that if I was expecting this to push up. We'll see what happens with the market as usual. Um, this does look like incredibly weak. because it's for two reasons, and I'll reiterate again. This is a little overbought. We want to see it come back down here, but this is a little oversold. This is pretty nice too on the switch over. Usually we expect to push up on these things at least to test. This could have ended back in and pushed up again and continued. But we hit up here, we push back down, and we have the 12 hours that we're under. So of course we have the 4 and the 1, but these are 4s and 1s trying to push through a 12, and it's got to push through both of them that are pretty close to one another. I mean, it's possible we start in here. I mean, this is 24 hours essentially. This isn't 24 hours, but this is 18 hours. This would be about 6 and then another 12. So if we could do that, sure. That would also be acceptable as well. But I think there's a high chance that when we do hit this, we will push down. We could end somewhere down here, maybe even a little bit lower, and then fall even further. We'll have to see where the market starts tomorrow. That is kind of a thing of concern. So let's just take a look at the dollar index, and I think we'll be done with this now. Because overall, I think this looks pretty poopy. The dollar index looks a little bit sketchy, but that might be why some of this is happening also as well. I do remember the dollar index, like I don't think it was the last 3 hours, not 6, but this could be right. But the dollar index has been doing some sketchy stuff around here also as well. No, so we do see it same thing here on the 2 hour also as well here. I mean, it's weird to see this candle and then to just kind of teeter out like this and then push down. So this looks like where most of the buying is coming from. The one nice thing that we did have here, we are a little bit high up for where it is, and there was some weird stuff yesterday. I guess we can just show this real quick to reiterate it. This was really weird on the switch over. Um, and I didn't really have a lot of faith in this, but when we do switch over, I definitely have a decent amount of faith in this. So did I think this could push up into here as far as it did? Maybe not, but I think it's done a pretty good job kind of cementing itself in here, and it's had a decent amount of sells. Maybe we come down a little bit more. But if this stuff can't sustain, then we should just expect to continue upwards on this. And that's kind of my issue a little bit with the euro to the dollar anyway. So, I mean, this looks pretty strong for what it is. Even on the day, it's looking fairly strong also as well. The week, it's a little toppy, of course. Like this is getting a little up there. So just get rid of that for now. So the day we never really hit. Like we can see here, we come back above, boom, boom, come close, we push off. So we never really hit here. We had the 12, a lot of ugly movement, but they did manage to salvage it by getting it back above, starting here and then pushing up, which was really nice. So this was nice. And also we managed on this. I'm not going to go through all the specifics. Obviously, we can see from the averages this was sold down, so we come back up to test. This was a little bit unexpected, but right then we start all the way back in. So we end here, we start all the way back in. I'm not really sure how this happened. I guess there was just like a big discrepancy between when it closed and when it opened an hour later. So it's always kind of interesting to see. So I'm not too surprised about anything anyway with like the euro moving up a little bit. It seems to be in accordance to this also as well. I don't want to say too much. We'll see. Like from the Nasdaq perspective, we'll see what happens with this. I could see us pushing up. But this is also like another reason I think we have a decent chance of pushing down. We're not going to see in our 12-hour in here until 6 in the morning as well. We're going to see that switch over at 5, so we'll see what happens with that. But if this is under here, we should start pushing down quite a bit. If we do end fairly close to this and not over it, I do believe it will be able to push down and clear this. Also on the day time frame, we can see as well. It's not bad because it hasn't ended up here. Like this is pretty bullish for what it is. Even with this candle, we push up, we tested, we failed, we got pushed all the way down. So we started down here. So it makes sense that we'd at least come back up to 11.56 possibly. Maybe even come back to touch at 634. I think that's possible also as well. Um, but we'll have to see when the market's open. So it's a little bit hard to say when the market's not open or where we're going to start. There's a lot of manipulation or a lot of money thrown around to get things to start in certain places and try to get some of these candles to look good. So long story short, this is a pretty tough break off from here. We're looking for these 12-hour holes, we're looking to see if they can beat this on the 12-hour, see get a start up here. There'll be 5 Eastern tomorrow, and that will be um, at we're essentially looking for it to start slightly above. What is this? How many pips is this? 220 to 177. What's that? 35, so 53. So at 20.98124, essentially 0.98124. We're looking for this to start above somewhere, so pretty much somewhere right about here. We'd like to see a 12-hour start above. Maybe we can get a little bit of pushing up from that. Overall, I think the dollar looks pretty strong, even though it comes down a little bit. I could see it maybe coming down a little bit more. I feel like it'll be more on an uptrend towards the end of the day. We'll just kind of have to see, play these things really by ear. I do like what we see on the 4-hour. The question is, can the 4-hour and what we have here on the 1-hour really beat what we have here on the 12-hour? Even just kind of from here, we can see just where we ended over. This is going to be an issue on the short term. The bottoms of this is going to be the short issue in the short term. The tops of this, so this is really guarding this whole position here. So it looks much worse than it looks better. The only issue is that the short position would have been take it around here and just kind of see what happens. Or this is like the short entry, so it's a little bit harder to say here. But at the end of the day, I think if we did get support on the 12, then we probably push back up to here, and then we got a test here, which it's definitely likely that it could keep pushing down. So it looks more bearish than bullish overall. Coming all the way down, it's not that far away. Coming all the way down to 90 would still not really surprise me whatsoever at all, just because we have such a large, more or less, channel. It wedges, but it wedges in like 2050 or something, so I don't really want to call it a wedge. But it's not exactly a channel either. So anyway, I just want to put that out for the other one, just because the other video got put out as euro to the USD. So take care, y'all. This is actually euro to the